Hi everyone, my name is Katie. Welcome to my page Red Stitchery, and let's talk about cross stitching. Today's video I probably make mostly for myself because I feel like if I promise in front of the public that I am taking particular whips to particular goal, which is finish, most of them, I will have more motivation to finish it. So I currently have 28 whips. I don't think I'm ready to take more than 30, so technically I have 2 spots to start new projects, which technically already taken because I know exactly what I'm going to start. And I don't want to do more than that. I'm comfortable with many whips, but what I've noticed is that my taste in cross stitching is changing, and compared even to the last year, it's changed a lot. Each year I open new likes, I open new designers. So everything that I have in my stash, everything that I had already started, I slowly started losing interested, and I don't want it to happen to lots of projects. So maybe next year, half of my stash that I own, I will be like, you know what, half of it I really no more like or it's inspired me, so maybe I will want to sell it. So I don't want to start many projects that, end up being forever in a web stage. So what I usually do, everything that I started a year before, I will finish this year 100%, or at least I will try to. And everything that I'm starting this year, I'm very comfortable with carrying to the next one, but next year I absolutely have to finish it. In the video that I filmed with today whips, so it's not my all current 28 whips, I'm going to show you only the ones that I have a very particular goals. Everything else that I have in the whips right now, I don't have any goals with. I'm just stitching if I like it or if I feel like it. But the whips that I'm going to show you today, those are particular goals for particular whips, like those I have to finish. In an ideal world, everything that I'm going to show you today, I want to finish this year, but at least 2, possibly 3 projects for sure, I will not able to because they are huge. They are over almost 30,000 stitches. One of them it's over 50,000 stitches, so there's no way I can finish them this year. I mean, only if I concentrate on those projects I can, but I rather finish 10 other than these 3. I don't want any spoilers for my future videos, which is I'm going to technically show you right now, like what I'm going to very actively working on. You can skip this one and just watch my next one with all my weekly stitch updates, but I want to tell you that just because I'm going to show you these whips, it doesn't mean that every next week for the rest of the year, that's the only thing you're going to see. Of course not. Let's be realistic. I love stitching multiple projects. I don't think I can be that dedicated. Just because I set certain goals for me, the main goal is just to finish at the end of the year. So if I will not finish certain projects till the certain time period that I set in my imaginary world, the goal is to finish at the end of the year. And of course, I'm going to show you lots of whips, the other ones, the new starts, and yeah, so just because I'm showing all these projects in this video doesn't mean that's the only ones that I'm gonna keep showing you for the rest of the year. Okay, so here's my current main goals for the rest of 2024. Enjoy. Yeah, I might be delusional. Those are very big goals, but I feel like I can do it. And it's fun. I'm saying it now. We'll see what's happening at the end of the year. And the end of the year, maybe I will completely change my mind and will be like, you know what? Don't want to do it anymore. Want to start something different. So, but at this moment, at the beginning of June, this is my goals for the rest of 2024. I did not wash or iron any of my projects, but I will try to stretch, if not all of them, at least most of them, so you can see the better picture. So I will take all my projects out of the hoops so we can see a good before. This is Peonies by Studio, and for my organizing, planning, the cross stitching, I do have a Notion. The best discovery of this year. I'm obsessed with my Notion. I made it just for it to be comfortable for myself. I have a WIP count, I have a content planner, I have all my WIPs over here. And here, a little bit spoiler alert, that's all the projects that we're going to talk about it today. And then I hide all the spoilers over here, so all close months, at least next 3 months, I already know what I'm stitching, how I'm stitching, I have goals, and we're going to start with this one. I started it in summer last year and I stitched this area over here. So I'm not showing with my finger. So I started with the middle, I stitched this part, and you can see, I personally see a huge differences between stitches over here, like the quality of them, and over here. I finally fall in love with this process. Like, I liked the pattern before, obviously I bought it, but I finally fall in love with the process. I finally figured it out how to work with the black canvas, and now I am enjoying it so much. I was lucky enough, me and my stitcher friend, we started at the same time, so she did the saga pattern for us. So I have a saga and I was able to do the math. So I need to stitch 875 stitches per week in the months of June and in August in order to finally finish in August. Spoiler alert of what I've been stitching this past week. I've stitched this part over here, and that was my 875 stitches for this week. But this is the before. Again, I started it last summer and my goal is to finish this one by the end of August. And I think I'm gonna make it, because honestly it's so hard to put it away and I kind of want to keep working in it, but I have other priority projects that I have to rotate. So here's the project number 1. Let's see another one. And the next one, this is, I have not shown you yet, this is Dimensions Garden, and this is my first Dimensions kits that I actually stitched. I had to stand up so you can see it in full glory, but I have a very complicated relationship with this one. I think I started it in the summer of 2022. That was my first Dimensions kit. And I started from the middle, so not even that, no. I started it somewhere like right here, and this was the most complicated part. It's just groups and groups of singles or very not logical groups of colors. And this one I started stitching before I knew about Saga app. And I remember I started stitching it and I went on Amazon and I left a very negative review saying how horrible Dimensions patterns are, which I still think so. The only exception is the minis, or if you watch my May of Stars, I recently started Flowers of Paris. That pattern, it's very enjoyable to read. However, this one was very, very complicated. But this is my first Lazy Daisies. I might restart them, I might keep them. That was a time when I used pencil for grading my pattern, which please don't do it. Turns out pencil, it's not that easy to wash out. And this pattern had a destiny of not being stitched, and I was actually thinking of throwing it away because I was so much in hateful relationship with Dimensions pattern. But now, thank God, I have Saga app. I found people who will pretty much do any pattern if you pay them, and I'm ready to pay extra like $5 for somebody to make a pattern for the Saga app, so I don't have to struggle anymore. No, I started from over here, from the middle, and this was this. And I still think it's hideous. I don't know why I stitch so many different, things and dimensions. I do believe it's hardest pattern to read. Also, like the back stitching, you know, interrupts with the grid. So like when you look at the first, where's the grid, where's the back stitching, and Lazy Daisy covered the symbols, like dimensions, it's definitely not for the beginners. Yeah, this pattern's seen a lot. We had love-hate relationship, but on a good note, as you can see, I am very, very close to finish this project. So I still have stitching, half stitching to do over here to finish the oval. And then I have lots of back stitching to do, like on the door, on the hat, I think on this door, definitely like over here, the grid and stuff. There's still lots of back stitching done, needs to be done. But other than that, I love this project. It's look very simple. When you look at it up close, when you're stitching it, you're like, oh my God, same colors over and over again, what I'm doing. But it's a good practice, I feel like, with any of your stitching. Put it away, look it from the far, and the picture just, you know, it just makes sense. And especially when I'm going to add some back stitching on the door and the hat and all of that, it's gonna be so much more sense. Dimensions, it's not for the beginners. If you do want to start stitching the dimensions kit, start with the small ones. Do not pick something like that. This right here, the black, the shadow, you stitch with the full strength of floss. So all 6 half stitch, like 6 strength of floss, and thank God it's a half stitch, not a full cross stitch. And when I saw it first, I was like, I'm not gonna do it, I'm just gonna do 2, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna follow the pattern. And now I understand how dimensions creates these layers. Because of this heaviness, like 4 stitches over here, the 4 strings over here, 6, 5, this is what creates dimension and dimensions. And highly recommend to follow the pattern. If it says 6, you use 6. It says 5, you use 5. And that what make dimensions finals looking this amazing. I kind of happy, and I purposely didn't wash anything and iron anything because I think it's gonna be my dog just lay next to me. I think it's going to be very impressive before and after. The goals for this project, it's to finish it at the end of this month. And I did a good progress this month. I did 1,200 stitches. So I finished this whole chunk over here. I'm going to keep moving on stitching the rest to close the oval. And all the back stitching I'm going to leave for the very last. Maybe stretch it over the bar because it's going to be a long string of back stitching, so it's not like breaking or anything like that. Yeah, so back stitching I'm going to leave for last. I do like to do back stitching with the project because the door back stitching, it's a long one. I didn't want to have weird interruptions or anything like that. So for this project, I decided to leave all the back stitching for the very last. As you can see, with all the struggles that I had to go through with this project, at the end I really like it because it's been almost a lot of 7 minutes. I don't know how much I'm gonna cut, but 7 minutes I've been talking about just this project because at the end I do really enjoy the final results. I know lots of people changing the face of the cat, but I'm not that creative. I don't feel comfortable with changing the pattern. Maybe in the future, but not yet. Hopefully, if everything goes to the plan, at the end of June, this is going to be a finished project. Christmas Mouth by Luca-s, or Luca-s, everybody pronounce it differently. This is how it's gonna look like. I bought it on Amazon. I thought he's very adorable. I want it. Fun fact, they don't put actual finished project on their preview. It's like computer graphic. So it's still a secret how it's gonna look like at the end. I don't know why I started with the projects that I have love-hate relationship, but that's another one of those. I started it at the end of 2022, and it was my first Luca-s, and still I think the only one. That's another brand that I refuse to stitch without any digital pattern. Let me show you why. This is the floss organizers, so I like how they already printed the only thing I like probably, how they already printed the symbol for you. You know, you just unbobbinate it, you cut it, you floss it over here like organizer, and then you stitch it from here. They also did the same thing with the back stitch. Oh my gosh, it's a mess over here. I have not touched it since end of 2022. I am planning to finish it in my Christmas of July because I found a lady who sell digital pattern for him. She moved the pattern from paper to Saga, and I pay money for it, and it's a whole story. But anyway, the same do with the back stitch. So the back stitch on the pattern is with these symbols, and I show it to you over here. First of all, I bought a digital, I spent money on it, even though I have just a little bit of left. So some of his face and hat, basically. You can tell that I hated this project. First of all, I used the grid. Again, I regret it now, but this is unknowing. Don't know what it is, don't want to know. I hope it's gonna come off and I'm gonna wash it. Let me show you the pattern and tell you why I hate it. How this for backstitching idea, when I saw it, I'm like, what's a waste of paper? Honestly, how I still hate it. And let's see now the actual pattern. Same thing, even though they use just, you know, black and white for the symbols, my eye cannot concentrate. I cannot pick where should I look. Also, how do you like an idea with white backstitch? Can you even see it? How do you like this idea? This is ridiculous. And I think I figured it out why it's so hard for me to concentrate, because they a little bit stingy on symbols, which in normal life, this and this, you know, I understand it's two different drawings, but on the pattern next to each other, it's, especially with like just a line, 3 lines, like it's hard to identify them. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with concentrating on it. Like even right now, I'm looking at it 2 years later thinking, well, maybe, you know, I grew more experience. I am better at my stitching. I believe so. I cannot do this. This is, maybe it's just me, and I hope you don't have this experience and it's just me being weird or whatever, but I do have a hard time on concentrating on the symbols. I honestly do. I don't know. My eye cannot just pick it. Like I see it as some kind of matrix, just one big text, and my eye doesn't pick what I needs to be picked. The cool part, the Aida that came with the lutex in it, so it's shiny and sparkly. But my stitching is just absolutely horrible, because I remember I was stitching it just to stitch it, just to finish it, and I end up not finishing it because I was in so much hate for this project. I honestly thought to throw it away, but I have so little to finish, and I think it just needs to be finished. So in my Christmas in July, I will work on this project. I will finish it, but yeah, I decided that if I don't have a digital pattern, if I cannot find a person who can make a digital pattern for me, I will not stitch it. You can see better over here, like, right? Isn't it just me I am very bothered by this. Like, why symbols are so similar to each other? Tired of looking at it. I'm tired of thinking about it. I'm tired of thinking that I have a project that's so close to finish, but I cannot finish it because the pattern, again, I have a big problem with the pattern. So I've decided in Christmas of July, this is a must finish project. And yeah, so peonies I'm going to finish in August, garden I'm going to finish in June, this one I'm going to finish in July. That's already -3 whips just in a months of the summer. And my goal is to try to stitch as much as I can. I'm on a goal list, I'm on to-do list, so that's another project that I has to finish. I absolutely have to finish this one. So this Harry Potter flags, I did start it this year, so technically it's not supposed to be on my must stitch list, but I have this idea fix of seeing my room decorated with this flags. I love Harry Potter. I just love this universe, and that's why I really want to achieve this goal. So in order for me to start decorating my room in September, I need to stitch 2 flags per week, and that's what I'm gonna do starting this week. This is where I am right now. We have 3 completely finished flags, 3 that have just a little bit of stitching left, and then 12 more to go. Let me know in the comments which one you want me to stitch next, because I do have a hard time on deciding which one next because they're so pretty. But right now what I've been doing kind of similar colors thing, so if I have any floss left over, I can just move on to the next one, and that speeds up the whole process because that way I stitch many flags at the same time. So this week I want to finish this 3 plus at least start, ideally finish 1 more, and after that each week I do want to stitch 2 per week. So at the end of summer I can decorate them, like put the felt in the back, make little hoops, and figure out if I want to make just like ornaments out of it, or I do want to make like a garland and decorate my room with it. So here's the results at this moment. If you follow me on my Instagram, if not, highly recommend it. On my page in the highlights, I do have a highlight that called where to find. I do have a link where to find this one over there. You can find it on my bobbin. There's lots of different flags by this designer. Not other universes, but they have like a Halloween one, then Christmas winter one, summer, spring, and like the fall one. So they have a fall and they have Halloween flags. So if you don't like Harry Potter but you like the idea, and there's lots of options that you can pick from. And yeah, there we go. This whip I did show you before. This is by Caterpillar Cross Stitch, Enchanted Realms Sal. And this is the Sal. They invite me to participate it, so this kit was gifted. Each month, at the end of the month, we get a new part, and we recently got this one. Remind me of Dumbledore and the Phoenix, but anyway, it's just the Magician and the Firebird. And then there was one more part that comes this month, and it will be finished. So this one will be definitely finished, even though I did start it this year, so technically I could wait till next year. But with the Sal, I do like to be on beat and I don't like to put it away because otherwise I will lose interest for it. Again, spoiler alert, what I've been stitching this past week, I've stitched from this cloud, the star, all the way these trees, all this part right here I stitched. I literally have just like 2 elements to stitch, but I'm like, I didn't have time, and I'm like, okay, I will finish this when I will finally move to this part. And then there's the mermaid that I still need to finish too. I feel like I showed and talk about this pattern a lot. at the end, when I will have a full picture, I do want to see how I can customize it. For example, all the wings, I definitely feel like some acrylic or metallic needs to be added. Maybe in the tails of the mermaids, you know, just a little bit detail, a little bit more organized. I didn't want to do it as I go because I need to see a full picture, and this part I still have no idea what's going to be in here because it's a sale and they release it just at the end of the month what's in the next part. So when I will have a final picture, I will see how I can customize it and add a little details. Definitely enjoy this project a lot. So this one will be finished, and so the next part comes in the end of June. If I will have time, I will try to finish in June. If not, definitely in July. So that's another project that's soon going to be finished. I think this project I showed you once before. This is a night park by Riolis. So you're stitching it on a black canvas, and everything black you see on the preview. It's basically an empty spots in a canvas, in an item. I have a dog. His name is Mishka. He is black though, but in my head, that's me and him walking in a full time. And I do think it's a very beautiful project. It's acrylic wool, and I cry about it before. Lately, I don't know why, I do have like a hard time on stitching with the wool acrylic. I don't know why, I don't understand. I was stitching before with it just fine, and all of a sudden it's just I cannot do it. So this is my progress so far, and that's the one that I am worried about if I will be able to finish it by the end of the year. Project is 160 by 210, so somewhere around 3,000 stitches. 33. I know there's lots of spots that are not going to be stitched, so again, everything black on the preview you see, like especially on top, it's not going to be stitched. The fabric just going to live as it is, but still I think maybe around 25,000 stitches, and I maybe done what, 300 over here. So that's the project that I'm worried about, and that's the project I'm going to ask you to keep me motivated and ask me like, hey Katie, how's the night park? Because yeah, I don't want to keep moving into the next year because my tastes changing, and I'm afraid that next year I'm just going to be not interested in it, and you know, it's just going to be waste of money, waste of time, and it needs to be finished. So that's the one that I will try to stitch in the summer, but starting September it's going to be my main project, because for the summer already I have so many projects that main goal to finish, and I'm going to keep it like those projects. I will try to finish the summer, because then started September I will have so much more time to stitch other ones, and I feel like I will finally have time to stitch this one, because I'm very excited to see how it's gonna look at the end, because I really like the design. And yes, it's wool acrylic, but the colors are so beautiful. This one surprised me, and I didn't even pay attention to this when I bought the kit. Like, this was very surprising color, but now I see it everywhere. Like, it totally makes sense to use this shade of green. The colors are beautiful, the design is beautiful. I finally figured out how to stitch on a black canvas, and I feel like with the wool acrylic, if I sit down, if I'm not disturbed, and I got my own rhythm, I do have a better progress. But I just need to find those perfect time and place when I'm in that mood, and that way I will have finally some progress. So if not finished, at least 50%, you know. But because I'm a seasonal stitcher, it means if I will leave it at the 50% next year, so 2025, I will stitch it only in September again, and I'm afraid by then I will lose interest in it, my taste will change again, and then this project will be just like a mouse and never finished, you know. So started September, it's going to be my main project. I'm going to put all my power and will into finishing this one. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm gonna try. Funny story. I cannot find this whip anywhere, and I am afraid I might throw it away. So I'm pretty much done it. All I have left is this sleeve over here and the back stitching, but I wish I had a whip to show you. I stitched it on a 14th count of Ida, and back then, and it's white, so it looks just like this on Ida, so with all these beautiful Ida holes, you know. And back then I just didn't know that even weave exists, and I stitch it as it is. Now, a couple years after, because I think I started maybe even in 2021, I realized that I don't like it. I actually hate it how it's an Ida, because that white background, it's just, I cannot stand it. That's why for the longest time it was just in a pile of all my whips, and now I've been searching for it for 2 days and I can't find it, and I'm afraid I might throw it away in some kind of moments of it's just a waste of space, you know. So I'm going to film it just in case I will find it. If I will not find it, we're just gonna forget about it, okay? So I actually now want to keep stitching it because I figured it out what I'm going to do with the background. I'm going to make my life a little bit more complicated, and I think I'm going to stitch with like this maybe shade of brown. The background, the full background, I'm going to stitch it with a half stitch, maybe in 3 strands of floss. That way it's not going to be bothering me that whole empty space. And I'm thinking definitely editing a beads, you know, and instead of using the yellow floss, definitely use the gold one. Like now I finally have that interest in working this project, but I cannot find it. If I will find it, you will see it in my rotation in the fall, so start in September. If I will not find it, we're just gonna forgive about it, and maybe eventually in the future I will restart it. Okay, forgive me, but that's gonna be one of those projects that I'm gonna take out of the hoop because it's very actively stitching. So in the perfect world, I also will finish it by the end of June, but if I want to do it, I need to stitch it 2,000 stitches per week, and I'm already way behind the schedule. So I think in realistic world, this is going to be done by the end of August if I will stitch at least 1,000 stitches per week. Like last week, I only had time to stitch 1,300. Who knows, maybe this week I'll have more time and I will find that sweet spot, you know, where the stitching just flies. But this is the current progress. In this past week, I've stitched pretty much this entire part over here, plus back stitching, and that was 1,000 and a little bit more of stitches. I'm having such a enjoyable time with this project. This flowers out front is still my favorite. As you can see, the first floor is built. We'll move into the second. I cannot wait to get to this point right here. And then everything that you see, like the white spots and then this huge chunk, it's not going to be stitched. It's going to lift as it is. And you will ask me, well, Katie, if you have an empty spot and you don't like Aida cloth, the holes that it leaves, why would you keep stitching in it? Because I see these two together eventually. And this one I started, what, 2-3 years ago, and I stitched it on Ida. So if I want to see them in the future together, I also need to stitch this one on Ida. They are different, but because of the oval, because of the same size, I see this as a background of this house, and I want to frame them in kind of similar style, maybe opposite colors of the frame and the mat, you know, like a green and white, white and green, or something like that. Need to go to the framer shop and definitely check it out over there, but I see them together. Maybe eventually I will change my mind and this will be a shopper, but this one I will put in a frame. But in my head, these are going together. I see them together, and that's why I decided to keep this one on Ida as well as stitching this one on Ida. This is why it's a project of the year. I want to finish it as soon as possible. I want to frame it as soon as possible because, again, I've noticed how much my taste is changing, and I'm afraid eventually it's not going to be my interest anymore, and you know what to do with that next. But I'm having so much fun. I'm enjoying both of the projects, and I cannot wait to see them finished. It's interesting now, I want to actually stitch more than 50% on this one. I put them together for the first time. This one is definitely like off colors, you know, and this one more clear, more juicier. I don't know. But yeah, that's how I see it at the end. I see them together. Another project that I started this year, so technically I don't need to finish it this year, but I added it to my list anyway because I told you the story about it, how I got it in my previous video. I told you the flaws, why I don't like it, because, you know, if you want to see it, you need to watch my previous videos where I showed you in my WIPs this project. So I just want to get done and over with. So my Christmas in July, this is one of those projects that I do have a goal of finishing. I stitched 50% right now, and yeah, it just needs to be finished. I'm really excited to see it finished. I'm on his beard right now. I almost finished it. Then it's gonna be his hand, and then he's holding a Christmas tree that goes right here. So technically the Santa himself I almost finished, but the tree is coming. I'm stitching on 32nd count. It's Murana. It's like that brown beige sandy color with the gold lutex in it. And when I start stitching, I didn't pay attention that technically his coat and head, you're supposed to stitch with acrylic, but the acrylic is opal, so it's like a cool color, where the fabric I chose a warm color with warm gold, so I don't think I'm going to do it. This sparkles will be enough. However, on the Christmas tree, the ornaments, they are holding on like a gold string, so those I will stitch with a gold floss, so it's a little bit more sparkly, it's a little bit more interesting, and therefore it's matching with the fabric. I don't know why I decided to choose this fabric for the Christmas design, but I did what I did. So I thought, I was very confident last year that I will start in November and I will finish it by the new year, and I will decorate my house with it. That didn't happen because turns out this is way more difficult than I thought it will be. So this year I have to finish it. I just have to. I guess I do have to finish it this year because I did start it last year, but because last year I did maybe like 100 stitches, in my head it's not registering that I started last year. But yeah, so in Christmas in July I have a goal to finish this one. Riolis wool acrylic, and that just tells you why it hasn't been finished yet. Another reason, this project has almost 50,000 stitches to do, and this one has been in my WIPs for at least 2 years, and I just know I'm not going to finish it this year, just no way. But my goal is to move this to 50%. Right now I am at 25%, almost even, so just another 25 to go, and I'm debating which way to go, because this, it's the interesting part. Everything else, it's the sky. So I think I'm going to move up, so that next year I'm not just stuck with the background of the sky, the boring part. And yeah, I'm just gonna go up, keep building the half of the project. My goal is 50%. I have a friend, she has, my stitcher friend, she has also a project that 50,000 stitches, and we both have a goal of finishing 50%. If we're not achieving this goal, it means in January we have to take this project and move to 60%. So if I will stay at like 48, I have to not only achieve the 50 in January, but I have to stitch it up to 60. So in January, if I don't achieve 50%, I will have to stitch only this project. But of course, I don't want to do it. So for me, it's a huge motivation to keep stitching it. And again, you're going to see it a lot in the Christmas of July, and then I will be bringing it back in a rotation closer to probably like October, November, December. It's going to be one of the main projects that I'm going to keep moving, at least to the 50%. Yeah, I'm just being realistic. In order for me to finish it, I need to stitch it for probably like 2 or 3 months and just this project, and I cannot do it. I just can't. So that's 25% right now. The back stitching I did last year, and I think I will have to redo it because it's losing, and I will do it completely different now from what I learned. But this I'm gonna leave for very last. Right now I need to concentrate on keep moving and keep growing the progress on this project. At the end it's gonna be very beautiful, but as for right now, it's just a pain because it's a wool acrylic. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know why all of a sudden it's like the most hardest floss to work for me with. Who knows? Again, when you look at it close, it doesn't look that impressive, but the farther you go, the more details you see, which is interesting. But yeah, 50% is the goal. And another project that I doubt that I will finish this year. This is Lavender and Lace Summer. Why spring? Summer Angel. I was very lucky to find it on Etsy. Somebody was selling for like $28 the whole kit, and I think it's a great find, and it's my first lavender and lace. So we have a pattern, all the beads, all the metallic floss, all the DMC floss, and let's see. Last year I stitched 10% of it, so I started it, but I stitched it maybe for like a couple days, for like 5 days or something like that, and I did not pick it up since then. And it's another big project. It's about 30,000 stitches, like including the back stitching and the beads. So yeah, let's be realistic. I don't think I see myself finishing this goal this year, but I will add it to my rotation. I do want to make it a main project of August, but I can do it only if all my previous goals that I was telling you about the whole video is achieved by that time. If I can achieve at least 25% in this project, that would be amazing. It is eating me alive that it's not finished or moved or anything, but I just simply don't have time on it right now. Like, I cannot find time to add it to my rotation. But I am very excited because I still like it. That element that's just holding, it's going to be full of beads. It's going to be beautiful. Her dress is beautiful. Everything about it is beautiful. I just need to find time. So on this note, that's all my current WIPs that you're going to see often in the next pretty much whole year. And that's my main projects that I want to finish. So if you see me slacking, and if you see some of this project I haven't touched in a while, I will really appreciate in the comments under my videos, you will let me know about it. So I keep stitching them, I keep my goals alive, and I don't quit on the goals that I set up. Well, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you see me in the future going to completely different direction, remind me in the comments like, hey Katie, how about those goals? Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Next week we are going to watch, and I'm going to film, but you're going to watch a massive haul that happened because no buy challenge is over. And you know, I think I'm going to keep this practice in the future where when I receive something, I don't put it in a place where it belongs. I'm gonna keep it in a pile as it is right now because I want to make a video for you, so I'm keeping it in like in one big pile, and it's getting overwhelming. And I feel like if I would do as I usually do, you know, receive the package and just put it in a spot right away, I don't even register that I just purchased something. Now it's just, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I think I'm good for a while. More about it in my next video, so I'll see you next week with my haul. And again, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I hope you stitched and maybe got inspired, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. See you next week. Happy stitching!